Welcome back to a brand new Charm City Beat episode. This is the first episode since the end of the Ravens season, but we come bearing great news despite our losses. Greg Roman is gone. It happened. We didn't know if it was going to happen. Nobody's for sure, but it happened, and it was great. When I got that tweet, I saw that actually Colleen sent me a screenshot of the Instagram post. I got that. I almost jumped for joy. I was on the middle of a call. I didn't even get to properly, capture my emotions. Oh my God. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he's it's mixed emotions. I think he obviously his time was it came to an end. He should have probably been gone mid-season, to be honest with you. He was the architect of some remarkable Ravens offenses. The 2019 season will be unforgettable, and it's all because of him. But I think we kind of saw the limitations of that offense. I think the most you're going to get is a short run in the playoffs unless you play absolutely perfect football.
Yeah.
Wasn't conducive for the type of offenses that the NFL is playing right now. I think it honestly handcuffed Lamar Jackson, his development anyway. And also his play calls at times were really, especially this year, I felt like were boneheaded. Like running backs would just completely disappear from the playbook. He'd be throwing the ball in obvious running situations or putting backup quarterback in situations that they shouldn't be in. And it honestly got tired and exhausting. And so I think it was time to move on. I'm excited to see what they do now. And what's your thoughts, Ross?
Yeah, I think I tweeted this out. He was the right coordinator for when Lamar came into the league. It could not have gone better. He's a run game coordinator. Lamar, yes, he ran a pro-style offense at Louisville, but he still was developing quarterback in the NFL. So he did what he did best, and it worked. Like Harbaugh said, records have been set, NFL records that will not be broken with this offense.
Yeah.
He said he was not a bad offensive coordinator, just his time ran up. Like someone pointed out, all the other quarterbacks, like, well, look what happened with Alex Smith, NFC Championship, Kaepernick, Super Bowl, Lamar MVP. Yeah, Roman's a problem. What did they do the years after those accomplishments?
Yeah.
He's just not sustainable. If Lamar is ready to move on, and the NFL can have as the Ravens like, a run style team, but with passing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. When it first came out, when Greg Roman's offense, I think in 2019, when it hit its peak, it was unlike anything anybody had ever seen before. I mean, and that was until the 2020 season when it was finally not something that no one had seen before, and it was easy to stop. And without the fact, I think the fact that a lot of times you found Greg Roman not, adapting at the half, or completely just, again, like Ross said, throwing away the game plan and, running with tight ends. It was all wackadoodle. But, again, it had its good time. It had its bad times, but the time has finally come to look for a better new era, as one might say. As you guys all know, the Ravens had a press conference Thursday at 2:30. A lot of eyes were on that. We knew for sure it would be some sort of judgment day. I didn't expect the news for Greg Roman to come out before the press conference, but here we are. Most of the takeaways, honestly, centered around Lamar, the team, what they're going to do with draft picks, what they're going to do in the trades, and we're going to talk about it tonight's episode. Few takeaways. First up, yeah, Harbaugh and EDC both expressed that they are determined to make a signing within the next 6 weeks. Sounds like there's a big Florida trip that happens every year, and that's not one of the things they want to go into that trip talking about. What are you guys' thoughts, at least on that timetable?
I think I think they might fill even sooner than that. They're probably waiting for the playoffs to end.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some really dynamic minds in the NFL right now. They're probably going to poach somebody, whether that's from the Buffalo Bills or from the Kansas City Chiefs. I can see the Chiefs because Andy Reid, and that's John Harbaugh's tree, and they've got good relationships. And I just think there's a lot. The Eagles and another one. John Harbaugh's from Philly, and that offense has been really good, especially with the quarterback runs and stuff this year. I think there's a lot of creative people out there. He might even go to the NFL, the college football ranks. I'm not sure, but I think, like you said, Lamar Jackson's gonna be a part of that conversation, and I think that's exciting. Just to know that the Ravens are like what this offense is going to look like is super exciting for me because it's probably going to be a little more explosive, maybe even more inviting for a wide receiver to want to come here and sign, knowing they're not going to have to block because they're running the ball 40 times, and the offenses aren't going to have to play, have to score more than 20 points a game. It's an opportunity here to really change the way the Ravens play football.
Yeah, I said I wanted Lamar Jackson to be involved, and the fact that they said that, you don't say that with him not coming back. Yeah. You're not going to constantly. No, he's going to be. Why would he be if he's not going to be here? And I mean, honestly, like they kind of mentioned it. What coordinator would want to come here not knowing what they're going to have? But yeah, if you have him involved, he's going to be there. Like I said, they said it many times, and like I said, they've already been talking. We don't know what about. And like DeCosta pointed out, he's happy a lot of things have stayed quiet.
Yeah.
No, he's him. They're both filled because they're both very private people. Yeah, this is a big deal, and everyone keeps saying like, "Well, what if they give him the tag and the players sit out with a new offensive coordinator?" When has Lamar been normal?
Yeah,
he came to camp this year. It was like, "Don't go, don't go." He's like, "Nah, it'll get better."
Yeah. No, and there's something to be said about, just not a lot of information comes out of the two parties. I mean, you have Lamar Jackson, who outside of a few cryptic Instagram stories doesn't really tell much. And of course, Harbaugh and, even his brother Jim, both of those guys are one and the same where they don't give a lot of information out. Very similar to how it is with Bill Belichick in New England. That's always been the style. Now, the media has kind of took those bits and pieces that come out and have created this crazy narrative to get people all wound up. But again, after this after the press conference, I felt truly confident in the Lamar Jackson. And this isn't even me just as an optimistic fan. This is based on bona fide, just what I'm seeing, reading the room. It looks good. It actually looks great.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are absolutely terrified of not having a quarterback at all. I think you see what that does to NFL teams. It could take a decade to get back, and they finally have a franchise quarterback. They have a guy that they know can grow some more. It's just a matter of whether they re-sign him, they give him the guaranteed contract that he wants, they can find some middle ground, or they franchise tag him, whether that's an exclusive tag, which allows them to get more draft picks if they were to trade him, or the non-exclusive, where teams they can match someone's offer for him. Like there's a lot of different dynamics here if they can't end up settling on a contract for Lamar, but I think he's definitely going to be somehow around the team for the next year at least. And I do think the Ravens find a way to get it done. I think Roquan Smith's deal really set the tone. And I think there's a lot of excitement building around this offense. And if they can go out and get a guy like, Hopkins or something in a trade, like even more value for Lamar Jackson to come back, because I think he wants to stay. The Ravens want him to stay, and they have unfinished business.
Yeah. They, like DeCosta pointed out, with Flacco, they messed up the numbers. They weren't able to franchise tag him. They've been planning for last 2-3 years, he mentioned, for this, to have a franchise tag. He's not going. He's their quarterback week one. All those Jets fans, you can sit down. Whoever, all of a sudden, like you see it on Twitter. Oh, look, he's a good quarterback now. Where were you 5 years ago? Like you all wanted him to be a wide receiver.
Yeah, it's actually funny. We'll take a little side conversation for a second. Just how funny it is that there's so many fans, at least on Twitter, that were bashing him, calling him a running back. I mean, it was a trending meme for so long. Not bad for a running back. And all of a sudden, them are vying for him. And, I wonder, let's just go back to the hate the Ravens have, I think, in the league. It's like, man, you guys have a nice, shiny Twitter. We don't have, this, that, and the other. It doesn't do that. But now that it's available, now I want it. That's weird.
I want that. I want that now.
Really fucking weird. Oh man. But speaking of which, it is wishing season where we have to start wondering, who is going to be this new offensive coordinator to take us into this new era. Who do you guys think? Like, you guys got any names you're thinking about? I was thinking about Frank Reich, who had a great season with Carson Wentz in Philly. Absolutely incredible. One of the best seasons.
Yeah. I don't really have any sort of name top of my head. I think I just know offenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I think there's a I think it'd be hard to get someone from the offensive coordinator, but there's definitely probably a quarterback coach out there or a tight ends coach or something that, I think is like been groomed for this job. And I think the Ravens have just probably been waiting and are ready to pounce on them when they're available to talk, whether that's maybe the guy down in Jacksonville or, whoever's on that Kansas City staff that is coaching Pat Mahomes. Like, I think that's who they're probably going to go after, or the college ranks, and they find a guy that's really changed, that has that offensive style and would like to be an NFL coach. Obviously, a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah. Like I said, the Chiefs stat would be interesting, but one thing we have to look for that is, does their offensive coordinator get a job? Because he's taking coaches. Internally, a lot of people seem to want T. Martin, one of the wide receiver coaches. That would help keep, as I mentioned, would a new coordinator take away some of the schemes Roman was running. Because, like we said, his run schemes were unprecedented. The run plays he came up with, despite the stupid 3rd and 2 QB, tight end draw.
Yeah, what the hell was
that? Having a mark under center, like I said, that would keep that in, but as someone else has been poked around, Bobby Petrino.
Yeah.
Lamar did pretty good with him in college.
Lamar actually did like a tweet. Actually, I saw it right before we got online of some guy on Twitter. Actually, I think I even retweeted it myself. He was talking about Bobby Petrino being a good fit. I mean, this is the guy that wrote the book, literally, on quarterbacking or coaching a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, referenced him multiple times in the book. But it is possible. From what I'm hearing, also his NFL record wasn't that great, but again, in a coordinator unique position with Lamar Jackson, that could be completely different. Again, like we say, nothing about Lamar is normal. So who's to say we can't bring your head coach from college back? Actually, that would be absolutely bonkers, and I'd be actually interested in that offense. I mean, Harbaugh did call it the most sought after job in the world, also saying they are looking for a type of person that Steve Bisciotti would have been looking for. It is a business after all. So you're going to be looking for a special caliber player. There's a lot of guys out there, a lot of people from the Shanahan tree, the McVay tree, guys like that have created these revolutionary offenses in the NFL. But again, I don't know. It's going to be a very fun offseason waiting for that. They also mentioned improving the wide receiver room. Another mark where, again, confidence instilled in the plan, because history would leave you to believe otherwise.
With wide receivers, definitely. But like they mentioned, last year's goal was to improve the offensive line.
Yeah.
Then they did that.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe them this year. They said that every other room is pretty much intact: tight end, running back, offensive line. This is the one.
Mm-hmm.
With a few holdovers. I mean, we know the ones. Bateman, Duvernay. I'm personally fine if they re-sign Robinson.
Yeah. I think it could be a good 3-4 option easily.
Yeah, and I think they're going into the offseason knowing they need to build an offense that's going to bring receivers in. I think they're painfully aware, that the current offensive scheme just isn't built for those prima donna wide receivers that you probably need to have to team up with Lamar Jackson. The Bills have Stephon Diggs. The Dolphins have Tyreek Hill. And there's a ton of them around the NFL. And so if you want to bring one of those guys in, you need to show them that, they're going to get the ball 10, 15 times a game, or at least, attempts and whatever. And an opportunity to have big games and have big careers there. And I think that's the key, is finding a balanced offensive-minded coach. I mean, that's going to bring in the big player, unless they do find a way to go out and be a trade, which there's a top chance they can do that too.
I will say D-Hop is reaching that 30-year-old range. That does seem to be when he does become a Raven.
Yeah.
And despite now Greg Roman's gone, he did say, I'll block. They can keep
right. Oh, sorry.
And not going to happen, but some other particular Arizona's wide receivers contract just happens to be coming up soon. And he didn't like Greg Roman, but he sure did like Lamar.
That would be interesting. I don't know.
It's not going to happen, but
yeah, I think it's more than likely probably D-Hop to come again.
I prefer D-Hop, honestly.
The Ravens are the 30 and over club card. You know, they give you as much experience after 30 as they can, before you just go off to greener pastures. I think D-Hop would be a great fit. I mean, you could say that about virtually any NFL team. He is DeAndre Hopkins.
We were the number one landing spot. I saw on one graphic someone made.
I did see that too on Facebook.
And that's cool about the Ravens is that they always, like, I'm no longer surprised when they go out and we have Roquan Smith. They go out and they get a Steve Smith. They go out and get an Anquan Bolton. They go out and get a Derek. Like, I feel like they've routinely made the trades or signed the free agents over the years. They're not like the Orioles, for instance. So I feel like that I'm honestly like optimistic. I can safely say I'm optimistic they're going to go out and get a Hopkins, or they're going to find a way to bring in maybe someone else, like the wide receiver on the Houston Texans, like a decent wide receiver at their price. The Ravens almost never ever pay for guys, and so I'm super intrigued by it. And we'll see what they do. And this might be the year they sent the 2 away for Roquan. They might say, you know what, we'll send their 1 away for a receiver, knowing that we're going to draft one anyway.
Yeah.
Let's take a different route to the ball, so to speak, and still get that guy we want.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that. I mean, I don't, again, the way they're talking like they're ready to make a move. And again, this is, at least over the last year, again, they were in game mode. Ross said, you know, they were focusing on that O-line. They spent a lot of time building up that defense. That, you know, I think that's a really undersung story. That defense, hands down, again, most of those guys are coming back, the ones that made an impact. There's a lot of questions, of course. Is Marcus Peters going to get re-signed? What's going to happen to Chuck Clark? But the Kyle Hamilton, Roquan, they're good. Marlon, he's paid. He's great. Marcus Williams, solid. Ojabo, they're excited about him.
In the full off season.
Come on.
Healthy.
How about Oak in the playoff game? Like, I feel like that's the first time I've seen he played like that. Like, there's so many pieces to like about the defense. I mean, there's obviously a window there, and I think that's what's really driving them to go out and make these moves, and because they know they only have so long before they're not going to be able to re-sign Marlon's contract. They're probably going to have to make hard decisions on a Patrick Queen and an OA and guys like that. But they can probably convince Houston to come back. I don't think Campbell's going to need too much convincing to come back if he knows that we are literally one coordinator and one wide receiver away from the Super Bowl, which honestly is how it feels right now. Like, I don't know how far we could have gotten with the backup quarterback, but the defense and the special teams and the running game and the O-line, like, it's all there. Like, it's like the perfect situation. And honestly, just getting our MVP quarterback back is honestly could be the difference.
I truly believe if we get Lamar signed, the power rankings after the draft, all that, once it's all said and done going into camp, we'll be the number 1 top 5 team easily. 1 and 5 easily. If Lamar is re-signed, if we have a proper coordinator, if we make a big splash at receiver, I don't have any doubts about that. Again, we took the Bengals to the rope. Outside of one bullshit ass, I'm even going to say blocking in the back, maybe. Mark Andrews running at about 22 miles per hour. Outside of a bonehead jump over the line, I wish that
you don't need your backup quarterback improvising. Well, I saw them all bunched up down low, so they went over top. No, why don't you do what Trevor Lawrence did if you're going to do that? Spread them out, so you could just be like, oh, touchdown.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, he did one hand, and he was just, this is easy. You're over the top of the ball.
But outside of all that, we're a Super Bowl winning team. I have no question. Outside of all that,
Yeah, and it's really exciting to know that we can likely lean heavily on our run game to win a football game late if we have a lead. That's not going anywhere. Like Dobbins is going to be super motivated. They'll probably re-sign Gus to a friendly contract. I mean, you got likely, you've got the other young tight end. You still have Mark Andrews. Like you can still play the game they've been playing, but just add a lot more passes to wide receivers and hopefully bring in a superstar receivers. That Bateman's the number 2, and you saw what he did in what few action games he had. I mean, he was absolutely dynamic. I mean, we were scoring 40, 30 points a game, and he was on the field. We should have beat the Buffalo Bills with him when he got hurt.
And you have a running game, and you have receivers not running 3 yards and standing next to each other, but hey, what's up, babe? This is my route too. I'm gonna throw a seam route to I don't know Ricard, but yeah, you get play action off of our run game. Get out of here.
Yeah.
You're watching Lamar do a play action read option. Where are you looking? Play action read option that he still runs the ball. You don't know what he's going to do. Play action, he's supposed to run, and I'm just going to stop and flip it up here.
Or even, the fact that if we get a proper receiver, we don't have to worry about him running as much. I think the O-line is going to protect him. It just, they did speak about the identity of the team because, again, without Greg Roman, team's going to look very different. That offense, I don't think it'll look different to the point where it's like, okay, what are the Ravens trying to do? But I think it's going to look more complete. I think that missing piece, like you said, we're a coordinator, I think, away from going deep into playoffs.
That's what I'm definitely hoping. The new coordinator will bring in his own people if he isn't internal already. But I'm definitely hoping a lot of them stick around because they want Greg Roman. Like I said, what T. Martin and I forgot the other receiver coach, but what they were doing with our wide receivers before they got hurt, it was looking promising.
Yeah.
Like I said, Bateman, first when he was playing, we were scoring 20-something points a game.
Yep.
And then that will also, like I said, help keep the identity of, like I said, as Harbaugh said, you know what we are. We've proven it. It works. Mm-hmm. But like I've said, you can pass off of that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people look at the 49ers. That's a staff a lot of people want someone to take someone from because we can almost do exactly what they do with their players.
Yeah.
Look what they're doing with Mr. Irrelevant.
Sure. But I feel like they're probably dying for a number 1 receiver. I know they have a good receiver, but like I feel like he's not utilized the way you see a Stephon Diggs utilized.
No.
And I feel like that the Ravens want is to get away from that type of
gadget play.
They fall behind too much because they don't have they're explosive offense, but they're very much relying on short passes and running plays and play action and stuff. And I think the Ravens really want to find a team that's going to be able to go toe for toe with Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Tua and Mahomes, and not worry about the fact that they need to put 40 up. Because if we put 40 up with the defense that we have, we're probably the most complete team in football. But I would like to see an offense that isn't afraid to throw it 40 times a game sometimes.
Yeah.
Personally.
And I think with all the work that Lamar was doing the last couple of seasons in the offseason, there's no reason why he can't launch the ball 40 times a game. And if you can't, then you probably shouldn't be in the NFL.
Had the most accurate passing game with over 400 yards one time he threw for 40 yards.
Facts.
Yeah. Mark Andrews, unbelievable what this offense is capable of when he's not being double teamed because you have to cover Hopkins and Duvernay going deep, and also, Bateman across the middle and Dobbins out of the flat. Like when Mark Andrews goes back to being one of multiple targets, he'll be a all pro again like he was 2 years ago. You saw how dynamic he was in spurts, and it's unbelievable.
Like I said, we had him line up as our ex-wide receiver in the playoff game.
Yeah.
What? It's your tight end.
It hurts so bad. I swear, he has the heart of a lion, though. Go back to that fumble that probably cost us the game. I mean, to reach those speeds, just trying to hawk the guy down. the heart of Mark Andrews, man. Like he truly is Baltimore football, and I love him for it. It's a damn shame he didn't get to him, or at least get the flag that he deserved.
And obviously he's also a mentor for Isaiah Likely and his other guy. I'm really excited to see I'm so excited to see the growth of Likely next year because I think he will be used in a way that's not tight endish, and that's especially as he hits the weight room and gets more lean. He's just going to be an absolute force because he was probably one of our best, if not our best, offensive player down the stretch. I felt
100%.
Anyway.
Yeah, and again, it's a less crowded tight end room, I think, this year, where we're pretty sure who's going to be there next year. Nick Boyle kind of opening up the space to develop some of these young guys. It's going to be great. Again, all the tight ends we have are pretty decent at blocking and great at receiving. It's going to be insane. Matched up with a good 3 receivers there. And again, we're only a couple of pieces away. I know we were at the end of last season saying a lot of the same thing, but I think even then that was a little bit of false optimism, just hoping for the best. But without a doubt, I don't have any doubts about it now, right now. Especially one other thing they pointed out in the presser, only one player is going to have off-season surgery. Pretty much everybody is healthy right now. Bateman's on the way to recovery. They said he could possibly get the screws out if he needs to. He should be running full speed. Let's run it back.
Seriously, and guys like Ronnie Stanley will get a whole offseason healthy for one. And if Linderbaum is going to be incredible next year, I think he was the 4th best rated center. Like we went into the offseason last year without a right tackle, without a center. Left guard was a hell of a mess. Our left tackle, all pro, did not play for 2 years, and I feel like the Ravens, was probably one, if not one of the 2 best sides in all football this year, and they're probably all coming back. And they've got 2 guys in Cleveland and Ben Powers who can play that guard position. They'll probably bring McCary back, and you've got honestly 6 or 7 dudes offensively in that O-line. It's stupid to me how good this team could be next year.
I will say DeCosta did say Powers is gonna probably demand some money. He did make it sound that was the only guy that he sounded like he might not be able to. And as I saw somewhere, kind of sort of like Bradley Bozeman did for himself.
Yeah, I was about to say. Very familiar.
He played good. Someone was like, we'll give him more. And we're like, okay.
We
might just be finally time for Cleveland to step up.
And he did play down the stretch a bit. And they were actually interchanging them, even in that playoff game. And so I feel like they were kind of – I think the writing's been on the wall with Ben Powers for a while. They've developed a guard, and I think they probably will end up drafting a guard anyway, because I think they're so important to how the offense works with the pulling and everything. But yeah, I think it's exciting. He was part of that. I think he was part of the draft class with Lamar, with Andy, right? So I think, Godspeed if he does end up somewhere. Hopefully not like Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't want him to go to Pittsburgh. Surely we'll miss him. I mean, he was great for us, but yeah. I mean, again, you can't pay everybody, unfortunately, and that's the nature of the business. I mean, I think their most important job right now at the end of the day is paying Lamar, and it shows. Again, this press conference couldn't have come at a better time, where I feel like I'm even thinking about the last couple of episodes we've done where we're like, yo, where is the defense of Lamar Jackson? Where are they protecting him? It just seemed like, I don't know, whatever, but they seem like they had confidence in their answers. It didn't seem, because again, you can see when they're masking something. We all know what that looks like. But it was sincere. They were defending Lamar when Eric DeCosta was asked, hey, do you think it was contract related that Lamar sat out? He said, no, he's hurt. We've seen him around here. It was the first time I had ever heard someone actually distinctively say it, honestly. Outside of Marlon Humphrey, I remember he had said it in an interview talking about they've seen him in training. But no, to hear Harbaugh and EDC behind their quarterback, again, confidence up.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they were still in the playoffs and everything led to why they didn't want to talk about it. I think they didn't want the distraction at all. And it was distracting, but it wasn't coming from the castle. So I feel like everyone was so focused on the Bengals. and they were throwing all the support behind Huntley and Brown that I feel like they didn't necessarily want to take those questions because it would have dominated every single press conference. And so I think now we have a chance to hit reset and go into the off season with a plan. Hopefully, we come out of it with a quarterback.
Yeah, a lot of the post locker room cleanout interviews with players and this press conference sure did sound a lot different than what the media has been saying has been going on. They've been constantly, they're at a riff. The player, he's lost the locker room. I'm pretty sure every Raven said he's going to be back. I'm confident he'll be back. This is Lamar's team. Like Humphrey pointed out, I saw him limping. Like I noticed outside door, RG3.
Yeah.
He defended him. He was like, he was the only one on that countdown. They were going back. He was like, what are you all talking about? That's not, I was there. You've never played there. I know people there. And he was protected. He's like, don't play. I can't believe what Vic said.
Yeah.
Of all people to be like,
I lost a lot of respect for Vic off of that. I'm not gonna lie.
How much I thought he was close with Lamar.
I think
Put a brace on it.
That was once back to the line by a little bit. Michael Vick. I think Michael Vick just was trying to say. I think he wanted the attention more than he probably didn't even mean half the things he said in that quote.
Yeah, he literally like to say put a brace on it. That to me as a player, like I mean, and again, especially in this generation of football where it is very business minded, where your play is your brand. To say that, to risk, to see what happened with RG3, you know, RG3 went as far as even posting the picture of his knee bending apart with a brace on to play, to just, you know, these are your boys, this is your team. No, it's bigger than that, bro. Like that. I have the utmost respect with Michael Vick of what he did, revolutionizing the game. But after that, no.
And that's a rookie RG3, not a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, who is literally months away from probably the biggest contract in NFL history.
Yep.
There's no way you risk that, because if he gets hurt and he does suffer what RGC suffered, you're done. You're going to get a quarterback on a team that, you know, got the future, and you're just sitting there taking reps. Like that's like the future. If Lamar Jackson can see the choices he had, and I think he took the right one as a businessman and an opportunity for the kind of wealth that will keep his family from not wanting for
ever again.
Like,
this is generational wealth.
Exactly.
And that's not something you put a brace on and play for a game. This is generational, life-changing wealth that we're talking. We're not talking 5 million a year. We're talking hundreds of millions. That's not a brace. That's I'm gonna wait until I'm healed. This is my bread and butter. This is my brand. I'm waiting until I'm healed, and then we'll get back out there. But again, after this press conference, extremely, extremely, extremely confident in the Ravens right now. I think we are on the right track finally. I think we have righted the train, and it's going to be a very exciting offseason, honestly. Yeah, any last words, Jordan?
If for some reason they can't reach an agreement with Lamar Jackson and he ends up taking the exclusive tag, I don't think there's been a quarterback under the age of 30 that previously won the MVP that was dealt ever. He'll be the youngest player ever to have that happen. And you saw what some of these people are commanding. He will command the greatest return in the history of trades. Like, you thought Watson's 3 firsts and 2 seconds, whatever the hell he got, and what the Seahawks got for Wilson. It would blow that away. So I think at the end of the day, no matter what happens, the Ravens will be in an advantageous position. They'll either have their MVP quarterback for the next, decade, or they're going to get so much draft capital and young players in return that it won't be the worst. That's all I guess I'm saying.
Yeah. Ross?
Yeah, like you said, they're either going to have a generational quarterback for the next 10 plus years, or they're going to have 10 first-round draft picks in the next 3-4 years. Then they're going to be all over the place.
No, I don't have any doubts. I think he's coming back. This isn't even me as a homer cheering it on. No, after what I read, after what I heard, the writings on the wall. These are two parties that are very private. The media doesn't know shit, and that's that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is going to be an exciting offseason. We're here during the duration. You will see our faces. Don't take care and yeah, stay tuned.